Viewers, you will have all heard of a cliche. It was an idea whose time has come. Well, the Lok Sabha today will vote to pass a crucial amendment to the Constitution to allow for the passage of the 10% quota piloted by the NDA. Those are live pictures that are coming today from the Lok Sabha that has extended its session to ensure that social justice, in the words of the Speaker, is done. The quota, as we are all aware by now, promises to reserve jobs for the poor that are presently not covered in the 50% cap that is reserved for OBCs, SCs and STs. Interestingly, the bill has been backed by the opposition parties. Yes, the opposition parties like the Congress, the TMC, the BSP, even the Samajwadi Party, grudgingly is offering support. All these parties till yesterday, in fact till this morning, were calling this quota a chunavi jumla, an electoral stunt by a desperate government that was looking to boost its political stock. But their about face today, as we can see in the House, exposes their hypocrisy. Now I want you to consider some of these examples. This is what Congress has been saying outside Parliament. It has been saying that the 10% quota for the economically weaker sections is another jumla. In Parliament, it is supporting the bill. It is going to pass this bill. The TMC, Mamata Banerjee's TMC, outside Parliament, it says in the name of polls, can a government cheat, ditch unemployed youth? In Parliament, it supports the bill. No conditions. The Samajwadi Party of Akhilesh, outside Parliament, government is crossing the Lakshman Rekha of the 50% Supreme Court quota cap. In Parliament, it forgets. It forgets the principled stand it has taken and will support the bill. The NCP, outside Parliament, NDA's economic quota bill will not benefit the poor in India. But in Parliament, it is supporting. If these political parties believe that this is a chunavi jumla, why are they investing so much political capital to suddenly do an about face? Quite naturally, the BJP is now calling out the hypocrisy of the opposition, demanding to know why didn't they put justice above their vote banks all these years? Why suddenly out of the blue support what they call is a cynical exercise by the NDA to fool the poor? Why? Why would you do this? Listen first to what one of the leading speakers on this bill in the House, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, had to say.
जब उन्होंने अपने चुनावी घोषणा पत्र जारी किए थे तो अनरिजर्व्ड कैटेगरीज के जो गरीब हैं उन्हें आरक्षण मिले, ये जुमला तो उसमें डाला था और इसलिए आज तक कई सरकारें आई, केंद्र में भी राज्यों में भी कई बार प्रयास भी हुआ, लेकिन सही रास्ते से प्रयास नहीं हुआ.
सही रास्ते से प्रयास नहीं हुआ. They didn't approach it the right way. They did things which perhaps would foul of the law, would fall foul of the law. That's what they did. They tried every trick in the book so that this would perhaps even fall by the wayside. The BJP says that was the real jumla. Indeed, the opposition, let's look at some of these hard facts, is guilty of procrastination for years altogether. Here up front are some examples. The BSP in 2007 under Mayawati demanded reservation in jobs for poor belonging to upper castes. Yes, note the date, 2007. Congress that says this is a chunavi jumla. In 2011, ex-PM Manmohan Singh vowed to look into the problems faced by the poor from other sections. The Samajwadi Party in 2014 promised to set up upper caste commission to review the reservation demand. The TDP in 2016 hinted at conducting a survey to extend the quota for poor among upper castes. Exactly what the government is doing to some extent. The CPIM in 2017 proposed quota as per economic status, saying Brahmins were victims of land reforms. Today, each one of those political parties till yesterday, till this morning, was saying that this is a jumla. The Modi government is pulling a fast one. And yet, in the House, and many years ago, they were supporting this move. So BJP is asking today, quite rightly, what took the opposition so long? Why the procrastination? If they are so pro-poor, if they are so pro-minorities, why didn't they extend the benefits of social justice under the reservation system, affirmative action that we have evolved to these sections? Let's throw this open. Joining us this evening, GVL Narasimha Rao, from the BJP, Member of Parliament, from the Rajya Sabha, also of course, opposition leaders on your screens, Garga Chatterjee, Yogendra Yadav, National President of Swarajya will be joining us, Dr. Fahad Halim, spokesperson of the CPM. I want to ask you, Dr. Fahad Halim, what's happening? Till yesterday, the opposition was accusing the government of doing jumlabazi, chunavi jumla. Today, you're standing with the government to pass this social justice bill. Why the flip-flop?
I don't know where you got this information from. You know, you seem to be misinformed totally as to what the stand of the opposition and the CPIM is. We've just entered into the first day of a 2-day strike, and the minimum that we have asked the government to consider is 18,000 rupees a month, which totals to 2,16,000. This is the government is not accepting. Whereas in the quota bill, the government puts a bar that those families earning below 8 lakhs per annum will be allowed the benefit of this. This is the contradiction. This is the stark contradiction of the reality of the nitty-gritty of the bill. What the government is saying and what the government actually is practicing, there is heaven and hell difference. They are saying that we are going to benefit families who are economically deprived, and that bar is 8 lakh rupees per annum. And today they have unleashed the police, they have unleashed all sorts of what you call goons against 20 crore workers who have responded to the call of the strike today. And their demand is that please, the government of India, consider that 18,000 rupees per month should be the basic salary that any citizen in India should take back to his home. The government is not agreeing on that.
Look.
This contradiction is going to play itself out.
If I were to tell you that Times Now has accessed a letter that was
let
written.
me finish.
No, let me tell you. If I were to tell you that Times Now, if you're talking about this great big band of yours, let me tell you. If I was going to tell you that Times Now has accessed a letter from an ex-MP to the Congress president to say support this band, which has actually disrupted life in the East, support it because there will be advantage for you in the Lok Sabha elections. What are you going to say? Anyhow, let's not digress, sir. I'm asking you, isn't it true that K. Surendran of the CPIM in 2017 proposed a quota as per economic status, saying Brahmins were victim of land reforms? Will you deny this today? Will you deny this? Or will you say, yes, I accept humbly?
No, in 1989, Rahul, in 1989, when the Mandal Commission came into existence, when that conversation started, at that point of time, the Communist Party of India, Marxist, has categorically in all its documents since then said that quotas should be based on economic criteria.
There you go.
It is the 2-day strike. It's the build-up to the 2-day strike. It's the farmers' issues that have forced this government to
You can digress all you want, sir.
It is a victory.
I will not allow you to digress.
Rahul. No, don't beat around the bush.
I want you to answer my question.
No, you are
a jumla till this morning. Now,
we have forced
the opposition, the Congress, the SP, the TMC, the BSP standing with the government to pass this bill. What's changed?
Economic basis should be the foundations on which policy discourse should be constructed.
There you go.
We are forcing the rulers of the nations to accept that you have to understand that the economic basis has to become the criteria for policy discourse.
You were part of the government. You were part of the government at the center in the DF years. You didn't do any of those changes.
You see the cunning.
Listen. We can all be two-faced today.
Rahul, the cunning that the BJP has indulged in is that they have not gone through a consultative process.
I
They
can
have
accept
not
that.
consulted. This is a very, very
Fair enough.
important
I
issue.
can accept that. Time should have
they
been given
not
to the
consulted,
opposition
and
to
there are
read the fine
problematics
print.
that they themselves have created.
Yeah, you can argue that point, but don't today
and
try
Rahul, you
to
have to
defend the
understand.
indefensible. Don't say that what we did in the past is different from what we are doing today. That's hypocrisy,
there's no
sir.
question there.
I accept.
It is in the fine
government should have
print that the
consulted
BJP
people.
is planning the demise of this bill.
No, 1 second. The charge that you are making that yes,
Rahul, in the
consultation
fine
did not
print,
take place is
the
very right.
The government is actually planning the demise of the bill. It is something that they are offering which they do not want to deliver. They want to reap the benefits of the stand, but they do not want to deliver in concrete what the bill is desirous of doing.
Okay, let me
and
ask
that
the,
is where
let
the
me
fine
ask
print
the,
comes
let me
into,
ask the
into,
BJP to respond to that
its
charge.
importance.
Okay, let me ask the BJP to respond. G.V. Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament.
Yeah, Rahul, parties which have only paid lip service, parties which have mentioned, you see, Congress was in power for 10 years from 2004 to 2014. And if they really wanted to make this a reality, they could have brought in legislation. They did not do it, but they just mentioned it in the manifesto in 2014 for an election which they were bound to lose. Everyone knew that the Congress had no chance of coming to power. So it's sheer hypocrisy that becomes evident from the fact that they didn't do it when they were in power. And now they seem to have forgotten that they have written it in their manifesto. Mr. Arun Jaitley had to remind the Congress party that you have already exactly stated this in your manifesto.
No, respond to the charge.
And now parties which have only made pretensions all in the past, now suddenly wake up and see, and then they have actually made it a jumla. This Prime Minister has ensured that this is brought into the Lok Sabha, and it is being passed today. In all probability,
Rahul,
they will pass it with almost unanimously.
No.
And this could not have been done in any
There is
other
a
way.
charge.
All these parties, I can
No,
tell
but
you,
G.V.
would have
Narasimha Rao,
ensured
there is a
that this did not
substantive
go
charge.
through. Had
And
this
let me
been
tell
talked
you.
about several
Listen to me.
months ago,
There is a substantive
they would have
charge
actually
that is being made
stymied
by
this.
the opposition today that there has been no time for consultation. Now they are falling in line like 9 pins. That's a different matter. But you could have actually consulted. You could have given them time to go through the nitty-gritty of the bill. That hasn't been done. The process is harried. Yesterday you couldn't even circulate a draft of the bill because it hadn't been printed. You couldn't even list it in the House Business this morning.
Rahul, I completely reject this argument, and I think this would have been
Why is
the
it not a
surest
fact?
way to ensure that this never happened. And if these parties, don't underestimate their capacity. They know how to block every progressive legislation. And this is gender neutral, this is religion neutral, and there could not be a better bill for gender justice,
let me
for
tell you,
social justice.
what worries
These
me-
people
look-
would have blocked it.
Look, what worries me today is that 70 years after independence, 3 years short of our 75th anniversary, this democracy is still depending on quotas to promote the interests of our society. Simply because there are not enough opportunities. That's a separate point. But be that as it may, I want to bring in Yogendra Yadav. Yogendra Yadav, I want to ask you a very blunt question. And first, I want to get over this hypocrisy part on part of the opposition. Can the opposition continue to criticize the BJP for being a suit-boot sarkar after today, when it has piloted or is about to pilot, on the verge of piloting a historic legislation to benefit the poor? That's the substantive charge that is today being made by the government at the center against the opposition, that we have overcome this suit-boot tag that you keep talking about. Look at what we are doing.
I think if you go to any village in this country and say that someone who earns 8 lakh rupees a year is a garib, well, I know the answers you would get in my village. I know the answer you would get in thousands of villages where I travel. People would look at you, kya 8 lakh rupeya garib? What are you talking about? Anyway, so forget about it. I agree, we are looking at a lot of hypocrisy from every side. To my mind, it is a classic replay of what happened in 2013, where Congress started exactly this kind of a cynical game. Congress was facing election, Congress was facing defeat. So in desperation, Congress said Jat reservation. All these lovely words were thrown out. BJP knew, Congress knew that this will be rejected by the Supreme Court on the first hearing. But both of them went ahead. Congress introduced. BJP said, yes, 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 we will not oppose it. And it got passed. And you know what? Supreme Court rejected it. And the people of India rejected the Congress. I suspect we are looking at a replay of the same thing. BJP is facing elections. BJP is facing defeat. BJP comes up with this again, this thing of now economic reservation. Congress and BJP both know this will not stand judicial scrutiny.
So there is
but this time Congress winks and say, "Hum kyun bure bane? Let them
but
do it."
There is a debate about whether this will actually pass legal muster. Some people are certain that it will. The big difference between the move today and the previous moves were that, for example, the Narasimha Rao's government's move to bring about this 10% quota was on the back of a notification. And that is the reason why it failed legal scrutiny. This is going to be on part of an amendment that is going to be moved to two very vital sections, Article 15(4) and Article 16(4) of the Constitution. And therefore, the scope of the Supreme Court striking it down reduces significantly.
I understand that, Rahul, and just before I came on this channel, I was on another channel where Justice Ganguly and Justice Mathur, both retired judges of the Supreme Court, were giving their opinion on this, and both of them said unequivocally that this will not stand judicial scrutiny. Please remember, we are one of the few democracies in the world where constitutional amendments are also subject to judicial review. And the litmus test of that is the basic structure of the Constitution. And Justice Ganguly on 10 minutes ago was saying that to my mind this falls foul of the basic structure, because this is not how affirmative action was visualized. But I don't want to detain us on this issue very much. Let's imagine this is constitutional. Let us imagine this will be enacted. My simple question is, will it lead to even one additional job for poor general category person? My submission is not. And the very simple reason, Rahul, is this, that currently 51% jobs are open for general category. Fine. The way this government seeks to define poor is such that almost 90% of the general category in this country will qualify, because the limit is so high, 8 lakhs and 5 acres and so on. So almost all the general category people will now become general and poor. They will get 10% reservation. The simple question anyone should ask, and I'm sorry no one has asked this question.
Where are the jobs?
Can you please ask someone to answer this question? What today, no. My simple question is this. Of the recruitments that the central government is making today, what percentage is occupied by those who are general category and are poor by this definition? In any debate on reservation, that should be the starting point to say, okay, this category is underrepresented because of disadvantages, we'll give them reservation.
Sure, I know what you're saying, because there are certainly a large number of
this
seats.
category which is going to get it will get at least, they already get at least 20 to 25% jobs.
Many people also say that the SC/ST categories themselves are not filled up to the brim. That is also another argument. But let me bring in Jeeva and Narasimha Rao to quickly respond to that. You see, the opposition continues to say, yes, we might stand with you because at the end of the day, there's a rainbow for social justice, etc., at least on the face of it. But it is a jumla because you're already rewarding those that are exceeding the number of jobs in the general category that are open 51%.
No, I find this argument rather very loaded and also completely prejudiced, because I don't know, is your contention that there are no poor among the upper caste, be it Brahmins, be it Jats, Rajputs, Baniyas? Don't you think they also need some kind of an affirmative support from the government? I think I'm really surprised that someone who has had the benefit of the best of education, someone who is an intellectual, and Yogendra Yadav also is presenting a casteist perspective here.
No, he's not presenting
and I'm
a
really
casteist
surprised
perspective.
At this. I think there must be, why should you be denying?
I have
He's
to
only
respond.
saying
how
that
did you not hear Mr. Jaitley? It's there in the preamble itself.
Coming to
in the preamble itself. I think what does it not constitute the basic structure of our constitution?
Let me ask Anand Ranganathan.
That really
also
tells you
Garga
the
Chatterjee.
heart, the soul of
Is this a valid
constitution.
point?
Respond, Rahul.
Is this a valid point?
The preamble
that
talks
the
about
categories
economic,
that are going to be
social,
benefited
political
by this
assistance.
particular legislation don't really need a leg up. Anand Ranganathan.
Yes, thanks very much, Rahul, for having me. Two very quick points, because I think we've discussed quite a lot. We've discussed the hypocrisy, which is very obvious because the Congress had all these things in its manifesto. We've discussed that the opposition has always wanted this. We've discussed that the Constitution talks about this, and also even Dr. Ambedkar talked about economically backward classes as opposed to as different from the SC/ST classes.
Yeah.
Now there are 2 points here. One is that in theory and in design, I think it is quite commendable. And I don't think we should, including you, Rahul, if you don't mind, should call it upper caste quota. It is religion agnostic and caste agnostic.
We are calling
and I
it
think Mr. G.V.
sabka
Narasimha
quota.
Rao also mentioned that Jats, Brahmins, everyone's included. He should have mentioned that Muslims and Christians are also included. But the second important point is, which actually Professor Yadav touched upon, which is quite important, and I would like you to ask the BJP spokesperson. You see, according to the World Bank estimate, the India poverty line, people below the poverty line, according to the URP method, is 256 million. But India has rejected the World Bank estimate and says that there are 357 million Indians who are poor, below the poverty line, earning 33 rupees a day. That is 1,000 rupees a month, which is 12,000 rupees a year. So on what basis, I'd like to ask, has the BJP kept the cutoff as 8 lakhs per year, when the poverty line, which includes everyone, is 12,000 rupees a year? Now, I would like to, much as I disagree with Mr. Yadav most of the time, because
so
of his views,
95%
I
by
think he has
some
a point
estimates
here.
of this country
And
will
the point
be
is,
qualified for
yes,
this particular quota because of the benchmarking. Now, isn't this really
yes, so it is,
a cynical sop
yes,
to win you massive mandates by dangling a carrot as fat as this? G.V. Narasimha Rao, before I bring in Garga
so
Chatterjee
why did
on
it
this
not
point. Yes.
keep, why
G.V.
did it
Narasimha,
not
respond.
keep the,
If you really wanted to help those
No,
who are suffering,
Rahul,
you should have stuck to the World Bank limit, the poverty line. That would have
kept the
helped you.
poverty line?
No, I know, but then
Or little above that.
I hope all those on this panel who are advocating this, would they advocate this for a creamy layer for the backward classes also?
Good point.
No, I think you cannot have different yardsticks. And there are a large number of people working in the organized sector where salaries are transparent, where today even a section officer or even a LDC
very
would be
quickly,
earning
Rahul,
about
you know, the
50,000,
cutoff,
45,000 a month
the
if you put all the
EPW
money
cutoff,
together.
Yeah.
And therefore, I know, I think the creamy layer for the
cutoff
backward
is actually
classes
1
also
lakh.
is on
If you
similar
look at
lines.
the housing, if
I
you
think
look
when
at
you
the
look at these
UPA, cutoff for
conditionalities
economically
together,
backward section,
I think it will
It's 1
ensure
lakh.
that not everybody qualifies. I don't know, does anyone on this panel qualify for this?
Sir, don't
I
go
would
by us.
a
That would
professor
really make
in
a mockery.
CSDS, which
That would really
Yogendra
make a
Yadav
mockery.
functioned
I
as,
want
would
to
it
say
That would
something
really
about
qualify
make a
for below
mockery.
8
Some
lakhs?
people have even come out and said, would it not be better to just give a tax
this
cut
is for the
to
economically
people?
poor.
Zero taxes for those who fall within the 8 lakh bracket. That perhaps would have been a better, decidedly more effective move. But nonetheless, I want to quickly bring in Garga Chatterjee. He hasn't had a word. Garga Chatterjee, today the BJP is charging the opposition with rank hypocrisy. And it says it has a right to do so. Your response?
Let me first say what I think about the bill. The bill, of course, is right in spirit in the sense that it now brings upon an independent axis of deprivation, that is your economic status, as being different from your caste-based deprivation, which is a different category, number one. Having said that, if you look at the unreserved category, 51%, which is known as general, what percentage of this is filled up by so-called general people? Almost 100%, right? Now, if you're providing almost 98% of these people a quota, practically it doesn't mean anything. I support the bill in the sense it now privileges economic status as a axis of deprivation, but in a sense it's a PR exercise because the beneficiaries won't get it, because if you want to get a job, if you want to get into a university, you need means to get in. Essentially, the richer among these people will be the only people who will get in. Now, responding to what GVL Narasimha Rao said, how about the OBCs who are rich? Now, the OBCs who are rich do have an independent axis of deprivation, that is caste. However, the general categories don't have that. Their axis of deprivation is economic status itself. That's number one. Number two, if BJP thinks that it can get this passed through their legal cell on however they have crafted it, I want to ask them, where were these legal brains when so many of, for example, Patel reservation and etc. were brought in? They have always shown this 49% limit. And number three, responding again to GVL Narasimha Rao, last point please, when he said that this is gender neutral, this is religion neutral, I agree, this is gender neutral, this is religion neutral, but so long as central government job exams happen only in Hindi and English, it is not language neutral. This only becomes a Hindi belt general category kind of a reservation.
That's one of the reasons why we are seeing certain political parties who have great influence in the Hindi heartland suddenly falling in line. And Yogendra Yadav, we can't escape this. Today, if there is so much wrong with this bill, if so many changes need to be made, should not these political parties be standing up in opposition, ensuring that this bill is not passed, rather than lining up and aligning themselves with what supposedly is going to be a political masterstroke for this government? You can't have it both ways, Mr. Yogendra Yadav.
Rahul, I had answered earlier as well by pointing out that this is exactly the same game that was played in 2013. Basically, they are winking at each other to say ki kuch hoga to nahi, but why should we be blamed? So it's a great game of not just hypocrisy. I think we are looking at bankruptcy of parliamentary politics, which we saw in 2013. BJP knew Jat reservation will not be able to pass the judicial test, but they support it. So BJP played it in 2013. Congress is doing it now. It's complete bankruptcy of parliamentary politics.
Yes. Did you hear that?
But Rahul, I must say something.
Yes.
I have been, Rahul, please allow me to say something else, which is that on television shows, I've been accused of all kinds of things, and I keep listening because that's all right. But never in my life anyone has accused me of casteism. I share that. I am a disciple of Kishan Patnaik. I don't know Mr. Narasimha Rao has had any occasion or has bothered to look at my political life. He has probably not read a single thing that I have written on this question. For years and years I have argued caste should not be the only criteria.
What was the
reservation should not be the only mechanism. If these people do not even bother to read, please, if these people do not even
okay,
can I complete, or would you determine the rules of the game here?
Can I?
No, one second. Let's listen.
I have repeatedly argued, and the only point I was making at that point was that two judges of the Supreme Court have said this half an hour ago. I was only reporting them. If you find them casteist, please go ahead and make your argument. But to my mind, what we are witnessing is a sheer hypocrisy on the part of government as well. Otherwise, please answer this one very simple question. Every reservation proposal begins by saying, here is this group which is disadvantaged, which is underrepresented. Forget 50% quota, forget the other principles, but minimally you have to show this group is underrepresented.
Sure.
So please show me the data which
that
shows that the group that you call poor, under 8 lakh rupees, is underrepresented. Please give one evidence for that, and I will accept what you are saying.
The point is, those opposition leaders
Rahul,
are perhaps
very quickly,
part of the bankruptcy, should actually be blamed more,
Rahul,
because it is their job to hold the government to account, not Yogendra Yadav sitting outside on a panel discussion. This would have been better said by Rahul Gandhi, who had shown up in the Lok Sabha. Of course, you have all rights, Dr. Yadav, to make this point on TV, but I wish this point was being amplified by some of these opposition leaders today who have changed like the wind. And Anand Ranganathan, you need to answer this.
Yeah,
you need
very
to
quickly.
answer this.
Yeah.
Yogendra Yadav saying that you have been very, very
Rahul,
unfair
I need to emphasize. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't me.
No,
I think he was talking of
Narasimha Rao. Okay, GVL Narasimha Rao, quick response. You were very unfair.
Rahul,
But very quickly,
Let him respond.
Rahul,
1 second, Anand Ranganathan,
No,
let
no,
Mr. G.V. Narasimha Rao
I-
respond
I-
very
I-
quickly.
I was being
Okay.
plainly forthright.
Sure.
I think I was just being forthright. I didn't mince my words. And what people judge you and me is by what we speak on this show. What is the position that we take? Jat reservation cannot be compared with this because the Jat reservation was not a constitutional amendment. And therefore, this what is being done today is certainly historic. Cannot be compared with what has happened in the past.
Okay.
And we also,
Well-
Mr. Jaitley also said on the floor of the House, and if
Yeah,
preamble
Rahul, 20
does not
seconds.
represent the spirit of the Constitution, I don't know what else represents. The preamble of the Constitution, the original Constitution,
I'll tell you this.
the unedited preamble
I'll tell you this.
said people have to be held on
I need to
political,
wrap this up.
social and economic criteria.
Fair enough.
This very
Fair
well
enough.
fits
Rahul,
into that.
20
Fair
I
seconds,
think
enough.
it has been denied so far.
All I
and
can
people
say
like you may
tonight-
articulate such
all
a
I can
such,
say
such,
tonight
such,
that
such a
amidst the
narrative.
grandstanding
but then
from
this
both
is not what the
sides-
Constitution makers plan.
Unfortunately, the opposition has lost its nerve, at least in the lower house. I hope when they have the weight of numbers behind them, they can hold this government to account in the upper house. Now, many people will say, if that doesn't happen, it is because the government has sensed, the NDA has sensed that it has what could be really a political game changer under its bonnet, and that in 2019 the dominoes will fall in the next 3 months in its favor, and the opposition has decided to retreat for now. And that really will also signify a retreat of our democracy to some degree, and most of all,
10
merit.
seconds, Rahul.
Viewers, merit. Let's not forget, this will be a retreat of merit. We may agree, we may not agree. We, of course, want people to do better in life, but not at the cost of curtailing merit in our society. Ponder this. We'll take a short break.